Well, I think I'm live. Of course, the cat animals and the cat human, the child, are making enough noise that it probably doesn't matter that much. I'm getting dirty looks now. Actually, to be fair, the cat is not making a lot of noise. The dog, on the other hand, was quiet all day, napped. She has this little blue monkey, which, if you guys watch live from the blanket fort, you'll know what I'm talking about when I say a little blue monkey. And she hasn't made that thing squeak for days. And all of a sudden, 2 minutes ago, she's standing in the office next to me, squeaking the blue monkey for all it's worth. The monkey screams. Hello, everyone. Uh, the monkey never made it to the blanket fort because the original blue monkey was bought to give to the dog at our house. And it wasn't until after that somebody who's sitting over here quietly had the idea of inflicting monkeys on a certain law dog because the original dog was not that kind of dog. It was our actual four-legged dog who loves squeaky things. And to be fair, they're $2 Walmart squeaky toys. And the dog usually eviscerates a squeaky toy. I had bought a ball for her off of Amazon, and I'm kind of irritated because I had measured. She has a football thing that's too big for her, and so I had measured, and the measurements on Amazon were smaller than her ball, so she could actually fit it in her mouth because the football that she has that she really likes is actually too big for her. And so I had measured and I ordered the green football off of Amazon. Yes, I know, a little green football. But they sent us the blue football and it's bigger than the one that she had. But it didn't matter because she had the squeaker out of that in like 5 minutes flat. The $2 monkey, on the other hand, that one still squeaks. The screams of the damned. Yes, yes, it was quality entertainment to watch them being taken apart. It was kind of funny that they kept coming back again. So, besides that, my day has actually been fairly quiet. Mondays usually are, and Mondays going into the holiday for work um, is interesting because it is very, very quiet right now on my team, and half the people are on vacation, and I have permission to work through days that are would normally be holidays for the regular employees, but because we contractors don't get holiday pay, we can work through them if we would choose, or we can take them off if we choose and just have unpaid days off. Well, I have a trip coming up, and college student who have tuition payments to start up here soon. So I'm not taking any time off. Besides which, we're not doing a big family get together for Christmas. I'm going down to Corpus Christi to see my kids, the girls, and that's where I plan to have the holiday thing. We'll do something on Christmas here because Johan won't be working, but it'll be a fairly quiet Christmas thing. Mom, I am looking at the temperature, and currently it looks like our lowest point will be about roughly 9 degrees Fahrenheit. Um, and after that, Thursday and Friday, it's going to be fairly cold, below freezing. Saturday, iffy, might touch up above freezing, and then after that, it's going to come right back up to 50s, which is what we will. So it'll be Jim. Ben, I will be here at home. Sanford will be going to the court to be support. Um, I can't really say moral support because that would imply more than he's liable to give Law Dog a hard time rather than no. We actually talked about it. Saw him yesterday and talked to him, and I told him that if necessary, I could take some time off, adjust my schedule around it. It shouldn't be too big of a deal, it being the holidays and quiet. And he said, "No, don't worry about it." So I'm going to I'm going to be at home and waiting for a text from my husband to let me know what happened. But we'll leave it up to Jim to and Law Dog to do whatever it is necessary, because they're still playing mind games with him. They were playing mind games with him on Saturday, which I was deeply unhappy about. But um, we're just gonna do we're gonna do what we have to do until he gets through. I think that hoodie is yours. It's not Sanford's or mine.
Oh, wow.
So
Nice.
we found a blue hoodie in amongst our things, and I just told
just then when I walked
Johan that I think the blue hoodie is his.
What are you talking about? When I just talked that
Law
Dog's trial tomorrow.
Law Dog's trials tomorrow.
And I'm gonna put all the stuff that for the trip in the garage, all of it together on Friday.
Okay. Getting organized is not a problem. We're going to be taking a pickup load full of stuff down to my daughter's, including we have to get a mattress into a vacuum pack. That's going to be fun. That probably needs to get hauled inside and done on the living room floor so it doesn't get dirty. It's in a case right now, um, but we'll have to work that out.
Did you offer to buy a new
Yes, I did
a while ago?
But she turned me down.
So we didn't have to move this?
So, okay. Going back to what I was talking about. The traditional cake with a file. Yes, if necessary, things could be arranged. I don't even know.
I know how to make C4. Cakes with files are so old school.
That sounds dangerous.
C4's not as fun as buying a bunch of cheap drones and just dropping some bombs on the roof.
No, also no.
They might evacuate all the inmates out, wouldn't they?
Also no.
You start bombing a place, they're gonna get rid of
Johan, stop. There are things we don't joke about. It should be warmer in Corpus Christi. And as far as when we're headed down, we are headed down on Thursday the 29th. And Doug, I will be in touch, because I don't know yet whether we'll try to get together on our way down there or our way back up. But we definitely plan to swing through the hill country and catch up with you and somebody else at least. So we'll see. Currently the plan is for Johan to be doing most of the driving.
all the driving.
Most of the
You
driving.
won't have any time.
And for me to be working, especially Thursday on the way down. So yes, I should definitely bake something for Thursday at the blanket fort. A cake. Oh. With hopefully that hopefully things will go well tomorrow. I don't know. This whole thing has been really, really strange, and we will see what the outcome is. I am just really hopeful that this actually happens tomorrow, because if it doesn't, then what that means is it gets pushed out into next year, and that will be 3 years of this nonsense, and there's no call for that. Something with pumpkin for Christmas dinner. A savory something, Mom, or a sweet something? I mean, there's so many different directions you can go with pumpkin.
No, there's not. Trash cans at the end of the island.
No. Pumpkin can be really good. Pumpkin bread is good. I would say a pumpkin custard, basically pumpkin pie without a crust, is probably the best option for what Mom is talking about.
Hey,
What, Johan?
Jamie, it didn't work.
It'll take a while to heal, kid.
Okay.
Um,
The boy is allergic to his deodorant.
the boy hasn't had an allergic reaction, and he's healing from that.
The boy let an allergic reaction go for months without thinking too much of it.
Stubbornness runs in the family.
It was red and puffy, but it didn't itch.
Stubbornness runs in the family.
Too often.
The mix to make pies, Kermit. I feel like we've had this conversation before about mixes to make pies, because there's the pumpkin pie mix in a can, which is actually squash. Did the boy learn? The boy has had a couple of lessons this week, and since he's not in the room anymore, I think he's learned. I mean, the whole thing with the allergic reaction, I think he's realized that, yeah, if you have that kind of reaction, that he should probably do something about it. And the other lesson, well, that one's hopefully not going to have to take any more hardships for him to to learn that he always needs to keep a cushion in his bank balance, because mom's not always going to be there keeping an eye on his account to bail him out. But I mean, I think these are things that most teenagers go through. So he will get there eventually. Right at the moment, he's just come home from work. He got home just a couple minutes before the stream started. Um, so he was still very much in the "I'd like to talk to you" mode. Except I think I've kind of flattened him there with scolding him over talking about stuff that he should not be talking about on a live stream, not in jest, or for serious matters either, but not in jest because people take it seriously. But sometimes that's what you've got to learn, is that there's times and places to make jokes. uh, Lady Lark, Mom can't do the spice cake mix because it's got gluten, but that does sound like that would probably work nicely. And maybe Mom has ways of making that work that wouldn't require that. And you could probably go with the pumpkin puree and some coconut flour because it's so absorbent, and it might make a nice thing with a egg in there maybe. Right, there are gluten-free cake mixes. And what was it? The the candy that Sanford made, it was gluten-free. Um, Coconut, pecan, powdered sugar, and butter blended up
Vanilla.
together. Oh, and vanilla. And
Dipped in
then
chocolate.
dipped in almond bark. That was the Martha Washington balls that he made. And those went over rather well. I don't know if Lady Lark has tried them, but I know some went to her place. And they seem to be met with approval from everyone else. Sanford's summary was, I should have cut that recipe in half because it made a lot. And also, I'm not going to make candy again. Haha, yes. Well, the other thing that went to your house that I didn't explain is jam cake, which went over very, very well at the Saturday dinner. Um, and the jam cake recipe is one that changes frequently because it's made with whatever you happen to have on hand. So, um, this particular jam cake wound up being, I had peach preserves, peach jams. So we did those, and I had some fresh blackberries that needed to be used up. So that got mixed into the jam cake at the same time, along with raisins. And in the past, I've tended to do jam cake with prunes because that was what we had on hand, and Sanford prefers them to raisins. But I figured since I was serving to a bunch of people that weren't familiar with it, I would do raisins and the peach preserves and the blackberries. It's basically a fruit cake, but not with the um, preserved fruits that most people associate with fruit cake. It is it is dense, rich, moist, and very filling. Um, yeah, no, there are definitely keto cake mixes. I have a microwave keto cake mix in a little container that's basically like a mug cake. I had gone off keto about the time I got it, so I stashed it, and I'm going to, starting at the first of the year, I've got to lose some weight. And I haven't yet figured out what approach I'm taking to that because I know keto works for me, but I don't want to do it long term. It's very restrictive. So I may just go back to low calorie, even though that sucks. Means I can't eat things. Um, so does keto, but keto is a little bit more tolerable as far as sustaining the diet. And I need to be exercising more, but that's really difficult because time. Because time. Ugh. Between the day job and trying to do writing and art, I have no time. And then, of course, last week I was sick, so I'm behind on everything right now. Um, but I mean, I do my best to carve out the time where I can. This is actually part of the topics that I said I would be covering in today's thing. One of them was food, but also meal planning as related to that, in that sometimes I plan meals ahead and actually manage to stick to that schedule. But sometimes what I do for meal planning is basically, okay, what's in the um, refrigerator and how can I use this up in a way that makes sense? Differs that actually is something that I have tried to do because it's less than a half-mile walk. I think it's like 0.4 miles for me to walk to the blanket fort. The problem is that the guys fuss at me if I'm walking back and forth because they're like, "Do you need a ride? Are you sure you don't need a ride? Would you like a ride?" And I'm like, "Hey, I can walk. That's good for me." So I do have my treadmill here in the office. It's just sometimes it's hard to tear away from work and get up on there and not be able to see if I'm getting a message. I should probably take the laptop on the treadmill with me. So if I get a message, I can respond to it immediately and not have to worry about it. It's just the way I am. I can't shut that off. So meal planning out of random stuff that's in the fridge um, is actually kind of funny because I've been I was binge reading Alma Boykin's Familiars series, and there are 22 of those, plus two of her new generations, which is the spin-off of the Familiars. It's the basically the children of the original characters. Um, I do have the treadmill set to work with the laptop, but I tend to be lazy and not grab the laptop and unplug it from all the things and get up there with it. And I'm going to have to start making myself do that. What I was doing was just taking my break, setting a timer, getting on the laptop, getting on the treadmill and walking for 10 minutes. That way I didn't have to do anything. But I think it's constantly tweak, see what works, see what doesn't work. Um, so one of the ongoing themes in Alma's Familiars books is that her magic workers are bivocational. So kind of like a pastor, they have their service, which is the magic, and they're not paid for that or really compensated in any way for it. So they have to work at the other jobs, and it's a very real way of writing, and I really appreciate how she's done it. Which is that she has her little family that she's writing from the time before they meet to getting together and going on in their lives. And they're on a very tight budget. And so she goes into, in some books, how the meal planning works of rotating the pantry and using up sometimes oddly different things in order to make sure that you don't waste food. And it's funny because not only is there this, Alma having mentioned that, but Sunday night, I basically did that because I had some potatoes that needed to be used. Some were kind of shriveled, and some the um, there was an Anaheim chili, which is very similar to the Hatch green chilies, and that was shriveled. A couple of the potatoes were starting to sprout. So what I wound up doing was making something very close to potatoes au gratin, and slicing the potatoes up nice and smooth and even using my food processor, which I love that it has the slicer on it. Oh yeah, if the potatoes are green, I will peel them thoroughly until you can't see the green anymore, and then they're fine after that. Are you okay, honey?
Post nasal drip.
Um, he's over there coughing, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on with him. Um, a dock for the laptop. I do not have a dock for the laptop. It's on the wish list. I am now, of course, I'm going to start coughing. I'm debating how much money I want to spend on a work laptop when I probably will only have it for another year, but on the other hand, I don't know. I mean, whether or not it's worth investing in that for a laptop that's going to go away at the end of my contract. It is a Lenovo ThinkPad. Um, I don't remember what year make. At one point I had looked it up. I've got the right dock for it on Amazon. Used, it's about $30, I think. Um, and of course, you should be snooty about the Hatch chilies. You live in New Mexico. Of course, you should be snooty about them. And of course, now I'm also seeing that you're getting roasted in the comments. Um, so um, sliced potatoes, and then dredged those in a little bit of flour. Because see, the thing is that my dad used to cook competitively for reenactments, and his dish, the one that he won prizes with, was potatoes au gratin done in the Dutch oven, and I helped him develop that recipe. So thinly sliced potatoes, dredge in flour. You make a layer in a buttered or greased pan. I was using a casserole dish, not a Dutchie. Um, the other thing that I had that needed used up was about a half a chub of breakfast sausage. So I browned that and layered in potatoes, sliced onion and chili, potatoes, sausage, um, potatoes, sliced onion and chili, one last layer of potatoes, cheese over the top, and then half and half cream milk mixture just to the top layer of potato, not like completely submerging it, but just up to that top layer. And then you bake that at 350 for a little over an hour generally. I think our usual bake in the Dutch oven was about 90 minutes, but um, that's a deeper thing. So it takes a little longer, but you're going to be able to stick a fork into your layer of potatoes and have it pierce through easily all the way to the bottom. Um, so that kind of thing is what I will often do for meal planning. It's not that I've planned ahead, it's more that I've looked and I'm looking at, okay, this needs to be used up, that needs to be used up, this needs to be used up. How do I make this into something that's edible? And I also do 1 week at a time where I actually plan for meals and get the meat out to thaw for it if necessary. And I always try to plan in one night a week for leftovers. Generally speaking, that's whatever night of the week I think I'm going to be busy and not going to feel like cooking. So, differs. I am sure there's an app for that. As a matter of fact, I think I used to have a recipe app where you fed in a couple of ingredients and it gave you suggestions. That was fun. Um, at this point in my life, I kind of can do it out of my head, but oh, hi, Tam. Um, yeah, there is an app for everything. I'm sure there's an app for drinking as well. Um, tonight I would be hard cider with cranberry in it. But I use a whiteboard on the kitchen wall for the menu planning and also keeping track of my son's work schedule, class schedule when he's in classes, the general to-do list of stuff that's supposed to get done around the house and somehow never gets done. Um, ooh, that sounds good. I don't have any flavored vodka. I don't keep vodka in the house other than for extracts. But Aldi has the Wicked Grove hard cider, and a 12 pack of that generally lasts me, or not a 12 pack, a 6 pack of that generally lasts me about 6 weeks because I might drink one a week. No, the meal planning helps with the budget. And Kermit, I know it's been one of those days for you. I'm very sorry for your loss. And honestly, man, you are too damn young to be losing people. That is not, I hate that that's part of life at that age. Um, I mean, I know that I've lost people, and I was probably your age when I lost my cadet, who obviously was no longer my cadet at that point. But the anthology Can't Go Home Again is dedicated to Jason Hurdle, who was my cadet and lost the battle with his demons when he was far too young. But it's part of life, and I know it, but it doesn't mean I have to like it. Um, and I'm sorry you can't get the apps to work, Mom. Looking at what I have. I have an app called Our Groceries, and Kermit, I think that's better, but I'm not really sure. um, the Our Groceries app works on both iOS, which is what I have, and Android. Um, and in theory, I had loaded it onto both Sanford's and Johan's phones, but neither of them use it. So what we do is text each other. So I haven't used either one of those. I don't know if anybody else has Cozy or Meal Planner Pro. Um, I don't have experience with them. I might ask the girls. I don't know if they use an app to coordinate or not. But our groceries is more of grocery lists, although I think, come to think of it, I'm not sure I ever use it, but there is a section for adding recipes, but I use it for lists. So Kermit brewed away. And um this is about talking and seeing how far off track you guys can get me. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you on that one, Mom. I I went to the iPhone a while back because um of using the iPad for art, and the iPhone had at the time the best camera. Um, Good heavens, differs. That's rough. Yeah, you should definitely. I didn't send Christmas cards out this year, and partly because I didn't do a design for Christmas cards, and partly just because, as I alluded to earlier, I have been having trouble making sure I'm getting stuff done, and things get shoved off the edges of my plates when I get to the point where my plate is full. And Christmas cards happen to be one of them. What I'm thinking about doing instead is I'm going to be doing a series of watercolor paintings. Um, what I might do is take my Christmas card list and send people little pieces of art at random. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure that that would. It always feels weird sending my art to people. It just like to give them because it's kind of like a kid going, "Look, I have a picture, hang it on the fridge," and I'm like, uh, so oh, Lady Luck, I'm sorry to hear that. I that's rough because I think most of the people you work with are pretty young too. Um, yeah, there's it's never easy, never easy. Anyhow, I don't know about sending out little pieces of art. That's one of those things that um I could probably get away with it if I'm sending it to my mom because but just like friends that I have on my Christmas card list, I don't know what their reaction is going to be to randomly receiving a small watercolor. Right, that's what I figured, Lady Lark, because everybody you worked with was pretty young. And that is way too young to be losing your mother. I am very grateful that I still have my mother. And I'm grateful that I have my dad, and we got good news on his health issues. So looks like I'm gonna have him around for a while longer. Um, oh my gosh, I did a, really rough sketch on an envelope and sent it um to my author herder, my friend who's being my assistant with administrative stuff, and her husband cut it out and framed it, and I was like, okay. Um, so yeah, I mean, I could definitely do that. I was very disappointed because I asked, because I was thinking like a week ago, I was like, I could still do cards, right? Right? And no. Um, but while I was at the post office, I asked if they had any Christmas stamps, and they said no. So there was no Christmas stamps. I don't know if they were out or if they just didn't do them this year. What I did get instead were Peanuts stamps because Charles Schultz and the Peanuts. I mean, so I do have stamps and I've got envelopes. Not that I ever send written mail these days, but it would be good for me. Well, differs. The idea there is to let Aaron do the scribbles and you translate, and you will have a children's book already illustrated. Interlinear children's book. Baby scribble, mama talk. Yeah, I could send e-cards. I don't know that I have emails to yeah, I could definitely do that. Well, I mean, I was doing the Christmassy bookstore thing with Midjourney. I could definitely take that art, sans the text that Midjourney gives it that's in its own language, and I could send that out as a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays thing. Don't know if David's on here, but David, if you're on here, Happy Hanukkah. Um, I think it's the second night of Hanukkah tonight. Yeah, pokes holes in the paper, collage, paper art. We can work with all of this. Yes, I'm sure it is tremendous fun. It is the one thing that I have a little bit of art that my children have made me over the years. Um, And I was trying to talk Johan this year into making me something. I'm like, he wanted to know what I wanted for Christmas. I'm like, I want you to make me some art. He's like, what can I buy you for Christmas? And I'm like, can you make me some art? I think I lost that. And that's adorable, Differs. I mean, can you understand the dictation, though? That's a question. Mm. And dictation. Yes, yes. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, Kermit. It's hilarious because I appreciate that Midjourney doesn't give us English, but what it does give us is so. Ooh, latkes and fried chicken sounds amazing, David. And give my love to Helen as well. Oh, Differs. That's very sweet. You have the cutest kids. I have to say, I have really been appreciating the fact that we have had small visitors since we've lived in this house. You guys as kids, Johnny LaForce's kids have come for a visit, and Maggie and Landon have brought their littles for a visit over to Jim's for last Saturday, and then my house for this Saturday. And so it's been really nice to have the smalls around. And I'm seriously thinking at this point that
No more kids.
the good Lord, no, I do not want children. What I am going to do, though, is acquire a few small toys to put somewhere that when we do have little visitors, I've got things for them to play with.
They like the squishmallows.
The Squishmallows are a big hit. The Squishmallows on Saturday, the 5-year-old carefully took all of them because I keep them in the fireplace because the fireplace is clean and non-functional. So the 5-year-old takes them all slowly. I was kind of watching her one at a time. They migrate over to the love seat where she was sitting, and she stacks them up, and then she climbs up on top of and sits on a pile of squishmallows like the most adorable little dragon with her hoard. Well, Sanford was trying to talk me into getting Tinker Toys because he would like to play test Tinker Toys.
On Ian's desk during
Well,
live stream.
okay, that too, but Squishmallows are so soft. My girls had more than they wanted, and they had a pretty big collection when they moved. And they were talking about getting rid of them. They were going to throw them away, and I'm like, no, I'll take them. So I have a half a dozen. I have a half a dozen Squishmallows that are here for. Yeah. Um, I would be more than 40 years old if there were children involved. Given that I'm 46 now, there will be no more children. No, no more children. Fidget rings. There we go. Like yeah, because I've seen those that you can spin. I mean, I do that with my wedding ring, which is not a fidget anything, but it's loose enough I can spin it. Ooh, yes, Lego designer or playtester would be a really fun job. Um, the part of the reason the Tinker Toys came up is because when I used to go and visit my great grandparents' house, they had a box full of Tinker Toys, and they had uh, it was a round tube, almost like an oatmeal box, and it was full of Lincoln logs, and like old school Lincoln logs, back when they were wood, which I find really weird that Lincoln logs are not all wood anymore. I think there's still some are wood, but parts of it are plastic. It's wrong anyway. So I have very fond memories of constructing things out of uh, Lincoln logs and Tinker Toys, and sometimes mixed together. So I don't know that that's what I want to do because most of our visitors tend to be a little bit young for those. But Okay, good to know. Melissa and Doug generally sells good toys. It's kind of what I was leading towards, was something like that. Um, Years ago when I was doing the performing, one of the places that we worked was a high-end toy store, and they didn't pay us cash, they paid us gift certificates, and we would hoard those until Christmas and give the kids a really nice Christmas, because we'd have a few $100s worth of gift certificates for this toy store, and be able to buy some nice things for the kids.
Let's buy swords for the kids. They're educational.
I don't need to buy swords. I have Turkish meat skewers. Those things are wicked. Yeah, I think I a decade for grandkids for me is about right. I'm good with the waiting that long. In the meantime, I'll just borrow grandkids from visitors. Squishmallows are not crocheted. They are a really soft fabric. I'll put up a picture of my fireplace with the squishmallows in it, because I sent that to my daughters to show them what I had done. Um, and Crocheted toys for very small babies are a little iffy, because their little fingers, they'll get into the knitted part of the fabric, or the crocheted part of the fabric. Um, Kermit, you come back again to visit, I'll get the skewers out and you guys can fence with the skewers. um, yeah, Montessori toys tend to be good. I was thinking like one of the little wooden cars that's about that big and fairly rounded shapes for smalls, because that's good for scooting across the floor and playing with. What I have to be careful of is not getting anything that looks like the dog's toys, because the dog leaves the squishmallows alone. I don't know why. Because other stuffed animals, the dog will eviscerate, and there's fluff everywhere. So I can't do most stuffed animals, but for the squishies, for some reason, she leaves alone. I think she realized, she was taught by the girls when they were living with us, that the squishmallows are not for the dog. Right? Rocks and sticks are good, but generally when I've got little ones here visiting, them playing outside is contraindicated for various reasons. My backyard is not safe because dog and dog bathroom. And my front yard is a little close to the road to let little kids go out. Bigger kids, sure. But the other thing too is when they're here, they're generally only visiting for a couple of hours, and their parents are not interested in them getting dirty and probably getting stickers in them, because we have sticker weeds. So googly eyes to rocks sounds like a great idea. I will definitely do that. A couple of painted rocks. There we go. We can have pet rocks at my house. Right, your kids would, not every kid would know that, so we'll see. And I don't know how often this is going to happen. I just figured, looking at it, I need to acquire a couple more children's books, which might involve me writing them. And we have crayons and coloring books, which I wrote. And yes, we have rocks at home. We do have a hose. We do indeed. That would make good mud. And hopefully by next year I'll have more raised garden beds. So there might even be fresh tomatoes straight off the vine, which is always a favorite of mine. Berries as well, but I don't know how well I'm going to be able to grow berries here in Texas. I am still trying to figure out this gardening in Texas thing. It's Last year was kind of a rough year. They tell me they're not all like that, but I'm not sure how well I believe that. The The garden last year just got baked and baked and baked. So Sanford left. He's gone outside. Yeah, lettuce is probably a good idea, although where I'm putting the raised garden beds currently is going to be partly shaded by the pecan tree, out of the radius of the pecan dropping allelopathic leaves on it, raised so it's not going to be in the root zone, but there should be enough shade from that it will help with. And that was part of the problem last year, is I was trying to grow in containers on the edge of the big concrete pad in the backyard, and it was like trying to grow a garden in an oven. So I have learned that will not work. There's some things I miss about being in a more green place. Um, there's definitely going to be some things that I won't be able to grow here that I've always been able to grow and kind of didn't think about until now here I am and I have to think about these things. So it will take some adjustment. It'll probably be a few years before I'm comfortable gardening here. Um, but this is part of the trade-off for having a winter where, sure, it's going to get down to 9 degrees, but within a couple days after that, I'll be right back up in the 50s and the 60s. So I am good with that kind of weather in the end of December going into the beginning of the new year. Yes, Texas is garden in a freezer. Well, I think I'm looking at the 10-day forecast that I've got up, and Wednesday it's supposed to be um, breezy and 50, and then Thursday we drop into the meat locker and we stay there until Sunday. Oh, you brought mail in. Thank you, dear.
The perils of being a trophy husband.
Huh?
Personal mail for the Sanderson family.
Oh, yes. A a certain beautiful evil space princess wanted to send something to us and asked. She's like, "Your last name is Begley, right?" And I'm like, "No, but if you send that way, it'll make Sanford happy." Because everyone assumes his last name is Sanderson, because I kept my name for professional reasons, which I kind of regret, because I could have gone with pen names. Which, back to the pen names. Speaking of pen names, so Cedar Sanderson, the author, is associated with fantasy and science fiction. I have an open pen name for a romance novella that I wrote years ago, and I'm thinking that I'm going to start writing more for that open pen name, which is Lelania Begley, which is my middle name and Sanford's last name. And I think that that's probably the best way to handle writing for um, the uh, the romance type things. Or the one I'm working on right now, the working title is called Special Delivery, and it's not fantasy, nor is it really a romance. It actually opens in the honeymoon, and then it's going to be a story of the first year to 2 years of this young couple's life and their trials and tribulations as they set up house together. So it's not a romance per se, although I think it's going to be very much a love story. And I think that I need to put it under the pen name because otherwise people will be looking for the fantasy. And there isn't going to be any magic happening in this. It's literally just people. It's a mundane book. To answer the question, David, yes, I have your Christmas card. Thank you. I really actually like the current trend towards the the old pickup trucks with the Christmas tree in the back of them, because we got two cards with the same basic idea but not the same art, and it's kind of nice. I like it. And Kermit, not to the best of my knowledge, at least not that I have seen. It's possible somewhere along the lines. And oh, I like the Rock family idea. That's cute. So the other thing with pen names that I've been debating is whether or not I actually need to split out the science fiction from fantasy and create a pen name for the science fiction, particularly if I write harder science fiction that or military science fiction, whether or not I should go with a pen name that's, well, I'm to be fair, most people don't realize that Cedar is a girl's name anyway. Uh, and a lot of people, even when they get to know me, unless they're on a forum where there's a photo, don't necessarily realize I'm a female at first. I had a funny comment about that last week. Um, but the what I'm trying to decide is if it would be better for me to separate out the really different parts of what I do, like the art, from the other things. And I don't know. I honestly don't know on this. I think I've angsted over this before on the live stream, and it's kind of not really a big thing right now because the writing that I need to do right at the moment is all short stories, and I need to finish Tanager, and that's already out there under Cedar Sanderson. So I don't know. Definitely special delivery will come out under Lilania Begley um because it's straight romance, or well, a straight love story. Do I have the time and energy to support multiple author profiles? No, I do not. Kermit, if you do that, I'm not sure it'll make it here. um, I will continue with the open pen name of Lilania Begley just because it is so. Sorry, I just got a text. Somebody is coming home. Yay! I have missed somebody. Um, and I'm very, very happy to hear that she's on her way home. I won't see her right away because I won't be here myself, but it'll be good to have her back home and in the blanket fort. So, yeah, time and energy. That's a really good question. I am currently running two ad campaigns. One is for Crow Moon because I released Crow Moon, and Crow Moon is not doing well. It's struggling. I don't I don't think it's because Crow Moon is a bad book. I think it's twofold. One, I haven't been consistent. I've been very scattered. I'm aware that I should pick a lane and just write one flavor, and I don't know if I can. I don't think I can do that. I have so many things I want to do, but they're all over the place. And I'm aware that if I just picked one thing and I did that and nothing but that, I would build a fan base better than the few of you all who I deeply appreciate that don't mind. They don't mind me being all over the map. Um, but so I'm running an ad campaign for Crow Moon, and it's actually doing decently well as far as getting eyeballs on it. It's not doing so well as far as sales go. Um, but the other one that I'm running an ad campaign on is Vulcan's Kittens, because I'm going to be running a sale on Vulcan's Kittens in the week following Christmas. And it will be either 99 cents or free. I don't remember which. Um, And so I decided I would start running an ad campaign before it went on sale just to see how that works. And I am getting almost, I'm not even getting eyeballs on Vulcan's Kittens, which is, I don't know what I'm doing wrong on that. So I'm going to have to revisit that. But I think probably what it needs is a new cover that is more up to date and um, looks like the YA subgenre, but it's not traditional YA, or well, not traditional. No, it's traditional's the wrong word. It's not modern YA in that sense. So again, with the I'm really difficult to classify. Yes, and Lady Lark, the reason that it's on sale is because of that's the promotion that you pointed me towards, and I sent in my information and a little money for the person running that sale. So hopefully I can make some momentum. I am just really tempted to change the cover up because um, the cover that it's on it right now is probably 5 years old. So, right, and I don't want to do the soap opera type YA stuff because that's not my thing. Um, it is Vulcan's Kittens is very much me channeling my inner 14-year-old girl, and I was not a normal 14-year-old girl. So I know that I have people that would like me to um, write more in that particular series, and I've kind of over the years I've got an idea for book 3, but they don't sell well enough for me to prioritize. So unless the story really, really jumps on me and insists that it gets written, I probably will stop with the duology and focus on other things that are going to sell. Because right now I have to think about the marketability of things. I don't know. I'm still experimenting with a lot of stuff. But yes, a flame kitty on the cover would probably actually work really, really well for Vulcan's Kittens. And then I'll have to come up with something for God's Wolfling. What do you think about that one? Because I wanted them to have a cohesive series look. So I will recover both of them. Yeah, Ben, that's about what I'm doing right now is anthologies, art books, the fantasy collection, which is Crow Moon. Um, Next month will be another art book. Well, it'll be an illustrated Law Dog book, which I have got to get the illustrations done for. Um, so I will have momentum as far as publishing and getting my name out there. I just need to figure out the key to turning that into more more sales, more eyeballs on my stuff overall. I'm not at a point where I need to make money with it. I am at a point where I would like to start seeing some patterns that I can then use to build um, this towards becoming an actual retirement fund because I worry about the fact that I shot my career in the foot by moving away from the city and going to remote work. This is going to change the arc of what I'm doing from here on out, and I'm in a 2-year contract that I've worked almost a year in. So in about a year, I'm going to be seriously job hunting because I have to have the income. And I don't want to start retiring now, but I need to have some momentum towards building retirement accounts. And for the time being, that does give me the freedom to experiment, to write things that I'm having fun with, and to start thinking through what the budget's going to look like in 20 years when it is that time. And by 20 years from now, the face of publishing and indie will have changed again, because in the last 10 years it has changed enormously. I expect it to continue to change and morph all out of recognition. So yeah, it's thinking these things through, talking them out loud to you guys is helpful. So I appreciate the listening ears, and I will be back again next Monday. Monday evenings seem to work well for me, and I appreciate those of you that have managed to make it to listen in. And hopefully this week we will see some good news. And next week, the day after Christmas, Boxing Day, I will see you then, about the same time, and same channel. I'll be here, and I'll see you if you are. Yes, rubber froggies, rubber monkeys.